People out here?
Hmm?
Are you just meeting people out here?
No, I'm actually sitting over there. I'm writing up something. I got to go to a court thing for some property in Ohio from someone who passed away.
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to have some people removed as executors of the estate, and I'm trying to have the courts to take that over.
Okay.
And let the courts be the ones who handle that, because we're dealing with some guile people and their family members. So that's what I am
and
doing.
from a distance, that's not easy to do.
Yeah, because it's also in Ohio. See, so what you got me sitting here doing is this right here. So I'm writing all this up. Trying to.
Are you a lawyer?
No, I'm not a lawyer. But I've been in situations where I had to deal with the law.
Yeah.
And through those situations,
you got to cover your.
Yeah, I've been pretty.
Cross all the T's, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you just have to know how to go about
Yeah,
doing things. Sometimes you don't always know how to go about doing things, but I know that I can do a lot of things pro se.
Okay.
I can file motions. I can make requests to the court. So I can open up that dialogue without them telling me I got to go get a lawyer and pay him $1,000 just for him to put a motion in to say, hey, we are disputing this will.
Okay.
Because I can do it just as easy as a lawyer. Why do I need to pay him to write down what I'm going to tell him to write down? So,
yeah.
All right.
So my name's Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. Ra'aku. Insahusi.
Okay. So I have a feeling I know what you're. I don't know, but I have a feeling I know what direction you're going in. So the question, what happens after this life? How did you get to that belief? So.
I'm glad you asked, and this is what I strongly know. This is not a belief.
Okay.
This is what I know. That nothing happens after life. They're gonna slam your ass in the ground, and you're gonna stay there, and you're gonna rot, and that's that.
Okay.
That's it. It's all. There's nothing else. I haven't met one person who came back from the dead and told me about a heaven or a hell.
Okay.
I haven't met one person who's seen somebody who was in heaven or hell. Who would even want to imagine something as preposterous as both of them?
Mm-hmm.
One, you're going to be in a place where you're going to burn forever. Well, I assume pretty soon the body will get used to it, right?
I guess.
You would hope, right? The body will get used to it sooner or later, and then you'll just keep living. But here's another kicker. That's if you had a body, but you're in spirit form, and spirit has no nerves.
Yeah.
So how are you going to feel fire when you're just a spirit? You're not even in a body form. See, they try to make you think that you're going to burn someplace and you're going to physically feel something that you're not even in a physical state to feel.
So, I was thinking by your name that you might have a Muslim leaning or
that
background.
That is not Muslim at all.
Okay.
I am not Muslim at all. The Muslims are conquerors of our land.
Okay. Where does your name come from, may I ask?
Africa, where my ancestors come from.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
We are the only group of people, if I may say, that are running around this country with names that don't even depict where we come from.
Yeah.
You see?
Very true.
We are a lost group of people, especially a lot of black people, because we're trying to imitate the people that we are in their land.
Now, would you say that you take on African religion as far as, because I know there's a lot of ancestor worship and that sort of thing?
Well, it's not no more ancestor worship than what the Bible does. The Bible does ancestor worship. Jesus, ancestor worship. Mary, ancestor worship. What's the man named Moses? Ancestor worship. Everybody through that Bible is ancestors.
Yeah.
And they
People
pay
that came
homage
before
to
us.
them.
Yeah.
Some of them even pray to Mary.
Yeah. So can I ask so would you say you don't believe in God or a higher power then along with
Not really. But I believe that the whole God concept and the higher power concept is us on earth being brought out of our lower selves and into our higher selves. I don't see this as you have a devil here chasing you all the time, and then you're running from the devil. You can't seem to get away from him, but you're chasing this thing called God. You can't seem to catch him.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of in the state of purgatory.
Yeah.
You feel? So while you're in the state of purgatory, you're trying to get set for what? You're trying to get set for this thing called the second coming of Christ. Well, 2,000 years ain't nobody seen Christ, so nobody's going to convince me that that's going to happen ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah.
If somebody today woke up and said these things to you, man, my wife just had a baby by immaculate conception. I didn't even do anything to her. Maybe you gonna say either she was raped, she was artificially inseminated, or
you're going to say you must have did something and you just don't remember. Who would believe something like that these days?
Right.
Nobody.
Yeah.
If somebody walked up and told you that, you look at them like they were crazy. Okay? If somebody walked up and told you today, dude over there, man, he just got out of his grave and walked. He was just raised from the dead. They
So you
put
have a hard
his ass
time
in
with
a
the,
nut institution.
Yeah, and so just a difficulty with the supernatural aspects.
Well,
of
just the whole
the
supernatural
Bible.
aspects of that cannot prove nothing. But say believe. Believe means that you are trying to believe in something that you haven't experienced, so you don't even know if it's true. Okay?
Yeah.
Knowing is when you experience something and you know it's a fact. Now, I talked about hell and say, how can a person burn in a place where he's just a spirit?
So would you say you didn't believe in God all your life, or do you have a church background?
No, here's the
background
thing.
at all?
Here's the thing. Let's see, when you're talking to not all African Americans, but some African Americans. See, my belief system was stripped many centuries ago of whatever it was that my ancestors worshipped, whatever they held of any value, whatever they, believed that, would happen to them in the afterlife, or even how a spirit, a god, or whatever it was called, would even help them in this life. See, that was all taken by people who said, you bow down to this, or you bow down to this. Now, what are these two things? You either bow down to our Christian teachers, or you bow down to this gun. Now, which one you gonna do?
Yeah.
So the strong get killed, and the weak bow down. That's it.
Yeah.
And so the weak has to follow along with something that ain't making no sense to them at all. Why?
Yeah.
Because while you're telling me I'm going to die and go to this fictional place in this sky called heaven, and I wish somebody could show me where that's at, but I'm going to this fictional place in this sky called heaven, and when I get to heaven, oh my God, it's just such a beautiful place. Everybody's happy. Everybody's walking around in all white on fluffy clouds. I mean, that sounds like a really boring place to me. Really? Oh, what is this here? All the streets are paved with gold, white picket fences and mansions and stuff. It sounds like a very materialistic heaven.
Yeah. Sounds like you have some Bible background. I mean, you
Of course, how
different
could I not?
references to the Bible.
I've been here in America all my life.
Right. Yeah.
So how can I not? I was raised in the church.
Okay.
And I'm raised in a church that never did anything for us. I'm raised in a church in a community in Ohio. See, I'm not from Chicago. I'm from a little tiny town in Ohio called Wooster, Ohio.
Okay.
Now,
Sounds familiar, but
yeah, they have a college over there called
Okay.
College of Wooster, and the Ohio Agricultural Research and Development Center is also there, which is pretty well known worldwide, actually.
Okay.
But see, my father comes from old school Mississippi. My father and mother, they suffer from post-traumatic slave syndrome. I suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome. Now,
Based on their
religion, because they're taught a religion back then, which is called plantation religion. You see, it says here in the Bible, spare the rod, you spoil the child. So y'all my children, I own y'all. So if y'all don't work, Bible says right here, I can beat the shit out of you. So therefore, let me commence the beating you.
Yeah.
Now, after many generations pass, these people that you're beating are beginning to think this is normal behavior.
Right.
This is how you raise someone. And you don't even raise an animal like that. You hit an animal, you're about to go to jail. But back then, you could beat the shit out of a human being to make him submit. So on one end, if you play along with this Christian game over here, your life's going to be a lot better. You don't play along with this here and you want to be different, well, your life is going to be hell. And every now and then, we're going to make an example out of somebody by stringing one of you motherfuckers up. Excuse my language, I'm sorry.
No, but I know
But it's the truth.
I've been reading about the museum that they just built for the lynchings. You know, are you aware of that? Yeah. And it's I'm actually a high school history teacher.
Oh,
So,
okay.
So, and I've had to deal with that. You know, it's, trying to present a very an unbiased look at American history, and it's not pretty. You know?
No, it's really not pretty. It's really not pretty. I think a lot of times we try to go along to get along.
Yeah.
You're not going to find too many people that will speak the way I speak, because I've been places that some of them haven't been, and then when I got to those places, I used it as a as a think tank instead of as a place of punishment. I had to use it as a think tank. But anyway, I want to get back to my father. Very Christian man, comes from old school Mississippi. 3rd grade education. You think that man really was very educated? No, but deeply religious. How did he get that deeply religious? Because that's what you were allowed to do freely. You may not be able to read books or anything else, but you can get into that religion because that's going to keep your ass straight in my society.
Yeah.
So his father did that to him. I used to hate my father. And I still have, I'm 60, and I still have hateful feelings against him.
Yeah.
But I've learned to forgive him. Because it says, and I don't just call this a Bible thing like it came from there, but we're just going to say the ancestors have passed it down to say sometimes you have to forgive people for they know not what they do. So I had to learn to forgive my mother and my father because the beatings they gave us, they didn't really know where they even got that type of behavior from, but it was taught to them on the plantations. See, my father picked cotton. So you talk to somebody you probably would have never thought, wow, your parents picked cotton. My grandfather picked cotton.
Yeah.
I've been in the butterbean fields of Mississippi, and it lasted me for about a few days because I couldn't take it. I couldn't imagine how these people could do it.
Yeah.
Out in the field with no shade. So you just heat strokes and everything else.
Right.
But the biggest thing that was going on down, you know, when he was a kid coming along and his father was complete and thorough oppression. Okay? And this is how you treat these people. Okay? Now these people been treated like this for so damn long, they think this is the way you treat. Now they didn't mix religion with violence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're using the Bible to justify it.
Yeah. You ever met a Christian, black probably, who has overcome this oppression based on their faith?
Well, see, that's a
just
that's a question
that
that has 2 answers. When you say overcome, see, you can find people that settle. They go along to get along.
Because I'm just thinking, like the whole idea that we're all human beings made in God's image. The fact that I have worth, that, like if someone's oppressing me, I don't have to base my identity on what they say about me or how they treat me. I can base it on what the Bible says, is that I'm a human being with dignity and value based on God. I'm a fellow human being made in God's image, Have you met people like that or not so much?
When I do meet people like that, I mean, you meet them because they'll say that, oh, they're this and that because they're made in the image and likeness of God. But see, this world is full of a lot of religions.
Yeah.
A lot of theologies. A lot of different pathways, even in the same religion. Christianity has about 1,200 different Bibles.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of differences of opinion within Christianity.
It has probably...
But I'm just talking about like worldwide.
I'm not 1,200. Excuse me. I think there's like 100, and I think 110 different Bibles, and there's like 1,200 different
languages.
Different sects of religion. And even different types of Bibles.
Yeah.
From your Gideon Bible to your King James Bible, and I've read about King James, how his name even became to be on that Bible. There's nothing you might say spiritual about him. He just wanted his name on the Bible, so his name would ring throughout eternity too, because it all was written during the Shakespearean period, and it was also written during the Protestant Reformation. You have John Ulrich, John Calvin, Martin Luther, all these people, like how we got the Lutheran Church, that's Martin Luther. He comes from England in the 15th century. John Calvin comes from England.
Well, Calvin would be from Switzerland.
Oh, Switzerland,
Luther
yeah, Calvin.
From Germany.
And then you had John Ulrich. You ever heard of him?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's another person who also kind of ushered in a new era of Christianity.
Are you aware of the what the Protestant Reformation was about, as far as like the changes?
Protestant means
with
the protesters.
What they were protesting from the Catholic Church?
Yeah, they were protesting because it was like a taxation without representation, along with some other things that was probably going on.
Yeah.
Okay, and they wanted to break loose because they felt as though here you have the bishop and the cardinal just living a life of luxury over here.
I mean, charging people something called indulgences, which is your ancestors are in purgatory, you need to pay to get them out, and we're going to use that money to build our cathedral in Rome.
And that was all manipulation, but here's the thing, it's still in play today.
Yeah, so like there are churches that are part of that power structure. The Catholic Church is still very much part of that.
Yeah, I mean, one
Protestants
is the other.
were basically saying, where does our authority come from? The authority of Christian teaching, does it come from what the church teaches, or does it come from what the Bible says? You know, and so.
But now you got to remember this thing. When you say, does it come from what the church teaches or what the Bible says?
Mm-hmm.
Now we gonna go a little bit deeper. Let's pull back another layer on the onion. See, most of the things that's in the Bible that they say this is what the Bible said was actually put in there by Roman Catholicisms, like 325 AD, the Council of Nicaea.
Mm-hmm.
Before then, there was no resurrection or immaculate conception.
Well, I would question that.
I mean,
Because,
there
you
really
have,
wasn't. But you already see how I feel about that anyway.
Yeah.
I think that whole thing is just, it's kind of a take from an old African Egyptian religion, where a resurrection wasn't meaning that you resurrected physically, but you resurrected yourself from a lower condition and state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? To be reborn again is almost was like resurrection. To be reborn again meaning that now you're in your higher self, and not your lower animalistic self, but your higher self. See, we don't separate and say these things are outside, and there's a devil with a pitchfork, you know? And then there's an angel with wings. Really. Like Red Bull gives you wings too, right? Okay. But even though they may, kind of say those things, that these things are chasing you, but these things are not chasing you. These are things that you are made up of. But see, here's the thing that I look at.
Mm-hmm.
The devil came from God.
Mm-hmm.
God don't make no mistakes, and God knows the future before it happens, so you cannot possibly tell me, because it's an ambiguous statement, that, the devil did this, that, and the other, and he fell from grace, and God kicked him out of heaven. Well, God could have killed him. God could have just said, well, you're done.
I'd recommend you read some St. Augustine,
Probably
the problem of evil.
Yeah.
It's just that whole thing about, like, why is it that we do have evil in the world? God is in control, so why couldn't he just get rid of it?
Well, because see, there is no outside force called a God.
Well, that's
wherever you want to point to, but you will never be able to find this location. God, that whole concept is really, people need something to believe in, especially people who are poor, undereducated, and kind of lost. See, those people need something to believe in. So religion gives some of these people some type of hope, especially when they can't figure out what the hell's going on in their life. Well, maybe if I just bow down and be a good Christian, and I go ask for a job and tell them I'm a good old Christian, they give me a job.
Mm-hmm. I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah. But people of power,
mm-hmm.
meaning of educated mindset,
mm-hmm.
they don't buy into it. The reason why I don't buy into it, I did time in the feds. Okay? And I met people from all over the world. And you know what I did while I was there? I said, you know what? I'm going to break outside the box. Because every time I met somebody of a different religion, I've been conditioned to shut it down. It's the Antichrist. I don't even know what the hell Antichrist is, but when I look at it, it's just, okay, somebody who doesn't believe in Christianity. Mm-hmm. But they'll say, the Antichrist, when you're in church and you're a kid and they got this picture of this firing, breathing devil, you're like, oh my God, it's the Antichrist.
Right.
Funniest thing. It's the funniest thing. But see, these things play a psychic on your mind. Like the Catholic Church said, give me your child for the first 2 years of his life and I will own him for the rest of his life. Meaning they're going to plant something in your head. A belief system. It doesn't have to be true, but you're going to believe it. And if you don't believe it, you want to believe it.
What would it take? Would you, like, where do you, I'm taking it that you do believe there are truths.
Oh, truths?
In life.
There are truths.
What would you say is your standard as far as determining truth? You know what I mean?
This is what I believe truth is. Truth is when you take a hard look at yourself. I do not pray for nothing.
I take it that.
Okay? Because if I don't get up and make something happen, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Prayer is just kind of like a form of meditation. You're really
so
asking
truth
yourself.
Would be common sense or
everybody's
science?
common sense ain't the same.
Would you base it on
but
science?
Truth, I would say, is based on facts.
scientific facts if it does happen. Because
yeah,
right
I mean,
now,
the facts we have
right.
to figure out, well, what makes them facts.
Right,
you know?
see, and so we do have facts. Some things we say, oh, we'll just have faith. Faith means you don't even know and nobody knows, but we just have faith, meaning you may have faith in nothing.
The way I look at it is, so I'm a Christian. I do believe in what the Bible teaches, Christ rising from the dead, all, the basics of Christianity. That's actually my chair.
You want a chair?
Huh?
You want a chair? That's my chair.
Oh, no, thanks.
I mean, I got one up here too. I carry chairs.
So the idea that there's a lot of evidence, but maybe not proof. See what I'm saying? Like I can't. So some things have a lot more evidence than others. So if someone says,
when I bring out the chairs, that means this is a good conversation. You can bring it over here if you want.
All right.
Just getting a little bit hot for me. This is where I come to when I just need some solitude to think.
Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Yeah. So why not we sit back like gentlemen do?
Yeah. Yeah, so what I was saying is it's possible to have a reasonable faith, not proof. So yeah, maybe I haven't heard physically from God. You started out saying you haven't heard anyone come back from the dead, but there's reason to believe that it's possible that Christ did, As a matter of fact, the Bible itself says that the resurrection, if you can disprove the resurrection, you might as well just throw your Christianity out the window. Paul said that. And because he was so confident, number one, that it happened, and because it's so central to the Christian message,
Let me ask you this. Why is it that all these things can only happen one time? And it happens so far away, so long ago, that nobody can really even look into it properly. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, so I guess
why isn't this same God doing these same things? Why is it only happens in this small window so many thousands of years ago, and it only happens under a certain culture's religion? You don't hear about that when you go to China.
I mean, if you read,
I've been to China.
Yeah.
I've been to Korea. I've seen how
you
the
read
Hindus.
through the Bible, I mean, you see that God has, for whatever reason, chosen a group of people, the Jewish people. It's not my people, I'm a Gentile, but He's chosen a particular group for that His Savior, His Messiah, would come out of. It even talks about like they're not the strongest, the most likely.
Who would these people be in modern day America? Because this is what they say. We're looking at supposedly the Jews were in slavery for 500 years. Isn't it ironic? We as black people have been in America and we've been in a slave system for 500 years.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of connections there.
Yeah. Now, isn't this ironic too? The place we now know as Israel, and that place that's been filled up with all these people are not even original Jews. These are converts to Judaism coming from out of Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, the old Soviet bloc. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And after World War II. These people were just people who converted to Judaism.
Well, some are ethnically Jewish.
I mean, some may be, but the problem that you'll find some people have is that in that particular area, there were no people with that type of skin back then.
Yeah.
That was all Northern European people.
Oh, I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These people, as they get down here, are much darker people.
Oh, yeah.
So how could these people up here say we're original people here when you look nothing like the people there?
Right.
You should look like them. You should be blacker than them.
Yeah.
Because even the Palestinians are mixed.
Yeah.
They're not just a solid group.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're mixed. So these original people who were Jews, they're no more Jews than I am or you are original American.
Yeah.
This is what I truly believe about Israel. Israel was put there as a satellite military strategic striking force. And how they was able to do it was after this so-called, situation with Hitler. We need to relocate these people called Jews. Mm-hmm. You don't want them over here in America, really. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants them. But wait a minute. What we need to do is take this and use that right over there as the reason to say we're going to relocate these people here, but behind this cloud of religion.
I think there can be mixed motives. I mean, the Zionist movement had started back in the 1800s, so they were already moving back into Israel, and so it was.
Where did Israel get all their power from? America.
Oh yeah. As America prospers,
as America prospers, as Western Europe.
Yeah. I mean, that's the belief among a lot of Christians, is that we better help Israel because we won't prosper if we don't help out Israel. I don't know if you know that.
But see, now this is how I see it. Because see, we're of two different backgrounds, we're two different races, so this is a good conversation. Mm-hmm. Okay. But see, what I look at is not so much that we don't help Israel, but what Israel does is help to keep that whole region in check. Mm-hmm. They get enough military might from Westerners. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They get enough military might that they can blow the shit out of 3 or 4 countries at one time.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's with the help of.
With the help. So the whole thing was like there for a reason. This whole development was put
I do
there.
Believe it's there's mixed
it's a military base. That's all it is.
There's a lot of different angles.
Yeah.
Very multifaceted. Yeah.
It's a military base because without Israel, you would have had Lebanon.
Yeah.
Yemen, Iraq, Iran.
And by that time, it wasn't oil. Oil was so important.
Oil was very important.
Yeah.
Very important, and they wanted that oil, and they didn't want to be hindered in any way.
Yeah.
So you come in the same way you went into America.
Yeah.
Your Bible first, and then once you get in there, you got enough people in, bring the military.
Yeah.
And then it goes there.
I appreciate your time. Let me ask you this question, kind of getting back to the original one. So you're aware of the idea that there is a God who will hold us accountable? No, you just know about this idea.
I mean, this is what
you believe it, but you're aware.
Living here in America, you're going to get a lot of indoctrination because we live under a system that wants you to have a certain mindset.
Yeah.
Because when you have a certain mindset, you can control them better.
Yeah.
How do you think you get people to go to war? You're fighting for who? God and your country.
Do you feel like there's do you believe in what's it called? It escapes my mind. The enlightened ones, the Illuminati. Like, do you think there's because anytime I do meet a lot of different people that are conspiracy theorists. They believe there's someone manipulating everything, behind everything.
Well, when you talk about Illuminati, I believe, no, that is true.
I have to say, because it's like Chuck Colson, I don't know if you're aware of him, was indicted in the Watergate scandal. Mm-hmm. He became a Christian after all of that happened, and as far as believing there's a conspiracy, he knew that government officials couldn't keep a secret for a matter of weeks or months. How could anyone keep a conspiracy going for lifetimes or generations?
You can.
It's saying it's giving people more credit than they deserve.
Mm-hmm. But it is true.
You believe it's so? You believe in something
true.
like
you mean controlling people for centuries at a time?
Yeah.
For millennium at a time. Perfect example. Look where you're at with Christianity.
Yeah.
Nobody, not even half. There's not one person here that could go to any one of these places called heaven or hell. There's not one of these people that can go there and come back and say, "I've seen it." Not
if they
ever.
did, you wouldn't believe them.
Well, if they did, you put them in a
There are people that say they've gone to heaven.
Right, and most of those people are locked up in loony bins.
Right. Yeah. I don't know how to determine if they actually did.
Yeah, so I'm saying most of those people are just locked up in loony bins. But here's the thing, though. See, this is what I say. You get along, or you go along to get along. Mm-hmm. Let's take another group of people, okay, that had no Christian religion until the Spaniards showed up.
Oh yeah.
They're called Mexicans.
Yeah.
And South Americans.
These people are so far, just like the African American, they are so far out of their native minds, meaning who they really are and what they really practice, because they're not bad. I don't look at anybody's spiritual religion as being any lower or any less or any more evil than the power structure, because these people in power took that same religion and justified slavery, justified killing every Indian that they can get their hands on until they pushed them back so far until they're not a problem anymore. They did the same thing with Mexico. This same religion justified going into a lot of countries and colonizing them and calling everybody barbaric, savages. But you go in humble, and these people that you later call savages are the ones that brought you in and made you their host and treated you like a gracious guest. And then once you learned what was in his house, from all his wealth, mineral, what have you,
right,
to his military might. Once you learn that and there's something that you know you need, then all of a sudden, the lamb, the olive, is gone.
I mean,
and the arrows show up.
I am aware of that as a Christian, and I have to say, the one thing that makes me make sense of it all is that Jesus said, many will come in my name, and I don't even know them. In other words, they're coming under the name of Christ, claiming to be doing God's will, But if they're not carrying out the teachings of Christ, then I have to say they're not following Christ.
No, they're not. They're following a certain political doctrine.
It's maybe also known as Christendom. Just the whole mixture of Christianity and politics that takes place.
Yeah. Because the word Christian or even a Christ is not a word that is unique to Christianity. That word was out long before Christianity. It was out with the pharaohs thousands of years even before him. To be a Christ was to be one who was enlightened, to be crystallized in your understanding of spirituality.
So I gotta go, but let me ask you this last question. So again, if you died and you find out it's all true, what you know about Christianity, that there is a judgment day and heaven and hell are.
No, I don't know that.
Well, I'm not saying you know it or
system.
believe it, but I'm just saying.
But this is what you heard.
What you've heard, yeah. So it's. I'm thinking you would at least believe it's possible this could be true.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
The reason why I say this here, you dig up one person out of a grave to show me that they burnt up in there.
So you take it literally that this is not on a spiritual.
I believe in most of that stuff is about as much as I believe in Santa Claus and
But
Easter Bunny.
I guess my question is more: if you're standing before God, would you be a good person? Would you end up in heaven or hell if it's all true?
I look at it like this here: there's no God that can judge me.
Okay.
No God can judge me.
So it's just you don't have to worry about that judgment.
No, because look at most of the things a lot of these people have been through. Some of these people have been locked up unjustly, accused of things that people say you're going to hell, and they didn't even do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So who's right and who's wrong? One person said you're going to hell, this one, and you're saying, well, I didn't do it. But you got mixed emotions and feelings about things, however they may take place. But one thing I just really know, because I don't have no extensive travel, but I run around the world enough to know this. All these different cultures have their own version of a savior, a messiah, of a God.
Yeah,
They have, they even have their own proverbs, wise sayings.
One of the things that helps me understand all the different religions in the world is from the Bible, reading the whole story of the beginnings and man's rebellion against God. Adam and Eve are given, like once they sin, they break God's command, don't eat from this tree.
Why do you put the tree in there?
Well, it's just, to me, it's like it doesn't even matter what it is they did. It's the fact that they broke God's command. Yeah. See what I'm saying?
But see, that's another thing that just gets me, because the Adam and Eve story goes back 7,000 years, and we know
that there were people on this earth long before that.
Well,
now this is what I've heard, and this
you would have to say same thing with coming back from the dead. Show me one person who was there. You know.
Well, no, but we have proof as far as bones and even Egypt.
We have evidence.
Yeah, we have evidence. See, that's the difference. That's scientific evidence, not belief.
Yeah, we have evidence, which is not, like there's different ways to interpret the evidence.
Well, yeah, it depends on. I think it depends on a person's mindset. I think the more educated you are, the less you get caught up in those little small things of this so-called, society that is Christian. One thing that kind of makes America unique right now, but it could be a problem later, is that this is a country with a lot of different people from a lot of different places.
Oh yeah.
And it's not so isolated as it used to be.
No, I've been finding that out. I've been meeting a lot of people from different backgrounds.
Yeah, from different backgrounds. So see, now you're having a cultural shift, even to these people that came over here called Africans. The way we came about Christianity is not the same way you came about Christianity. See, this was inculcated, branded, beat. That's what you're gonna do.
Yeah. The one thing again though that that I get from Christianity that maybe I want to leave you with is when Adam and Eve, when the original people sin against God, their eyes are open, they know good from evil, and they're given a conscience. And so the common thing that I see in humanity all around the world, doesn't matter the religious background, their atheist background, whatever, is that everybody is given a conscience or a general sense of right and wrong.
Right.
And the other thing that we all have in common is even though we know the good we should do, we don't do it, or we know the bad things we shouldn't do, and we do it. In other words, we can't keep our own conscience.
Well, here's what it is, but see, we do.
And so religion is trying to answer that question. Well, how can we justify
you
that,
have to have some type of conscience. I just think it just all depends on the person, how they were raised, what their morals.
The conscience can be sharpened or it can be dulled.
Hey, it can be. Because see, I could have passed along what my father did.
Yeah.
But somewhere down the line, I had to realize that this is wrong. See, and all this was done while we had to go to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
Bible study. He would even read the Bible and he couldn't read.
Yeah.
And if we fall asleep, he'd take the whole book and throw it at you. Okay? And then after that, if any infraction that may have happened in the house, you're going to get beat.
Yeah.
Just like you were on a plantation. You take off your shirt, you turn around, you see this scar right here? 5 years old. My dad bust my back open with an extension cord to tell me this is the future. This is the way it's going to be. Okay? But what he was really doing was passing down what the slave masters had made him think is correct behavior.
Yeah.
Now, let's get back to that church thing that I was telling you about. What really, really got to me was we were going to a church. We went to church all the time. This pastor, in this particular town, there was only one black church. And they made sure that they got this church for these black folks. And we bring the black asses up in here, okay? So you got one black church for these few black people that live in this town. It's probably
in Ohio.
Yeah, it was probably 100 of us that probably black people in that town, maybe 200. I'm not even sure, but it wasn't very, very many of 30,000.
Yeah.
So we had one church. A lot of them people in that church come from old school Mississippi. The preacher, we used to go give him money, building fund collection, tithes, all this stuff, giving him money, participating in everything that, they were doing, from my first poems, Christmas and all that stuff, and Easter, saying poems, singing in the choir and all that. Now here is a preacher that knows my family. My dad is beating us bad. You even know my dad is beating my mom. You ain't lift one damn finger to help. To say anything, but you got your hand out waiting for money.
Yeah.
Then when I grew up, because I done ran away so many times because I'm looking for love in all the wrong places, because I wasn't getting it at home. So I started looking for love in the wrong places, not knowing where to find it. Maybe I got caught up with the wrong people. If I was of a certain class status, let's talk to you. Come on, we can get you straightened out.
Yeah.
Get you on the right road.
Yeah.
But because I wasn't of a certain class standard or status, did you knowingly do this? You are in your right mind. Good. Your ass is going to Mansfield State Reformatory. Bye. And I get over there, and I see more black people than I'd ever seen. In this prison. You ever heard of Shawshank Redemption?
Mm-hmm.
I was in that prison. That's Mansfield State Reformatory in Ohio. I was in there for a pack of cigarettes. So I'm going back to this preacher guy, though. Reverend Leroy Adams. You never came to my aid, man. If I was applying for a job, you wouldn't even as much as let me put your name down as a reference. And I went to your church my whole life. You didn't lift a finger to do nothing for us. And then you think I'm gonna say and believe in your Christianity? And the whole town was like that. The whole town was like that. A lot of people knew what was happening.
Yeah.
But see, that was the 60s. So certain things were acceptable back then that's not acceptable today. If my father would do what he did to us back then, he'd probably be sitting in prison for a felonious assault, maybe doing 10 years. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but back in the 60s, they didn't care. All these great Christian people seeing us running around and nobody cared.
Yeah.
And that's what I find out most of the time. You know, I see people do this do good stuff, you know, but a lot of them just do it for posturing and positioning. I just want to share this with you, then I'm going to shut up a little bit, but I'm a homeless guy.
You are?
I'm homeless. I go to work, though. I just got a job working at Prairie over here. The Prairie Ready Mix.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got to work over there. Every day I do security from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. You know?
Yeah.
And I even stay over in this area because I'm just starting. I don't have a lot of gas in my car. So I don't want to run the gas out. So I stay in the car and stay close to California 33rd.
Yeah.
You know, it's a place where I can hang out.
Yeah.
So that I can still, you know, make this thing work.
Yeah.
So I'm a person that, you know, that's working. But, you know, to go back to, you know, to the situation that I had to deal with him is that, you know, nobody really seemed to really be Christians. And that's what I was going to say. I've been into a homeless shelter. That's where I was at. I kind of lost my frame of thought. Been to a homeless shelter, right? And I don't know if you ever heard of Breakthrough Ministries. West Side. Is there over there on Lawndale Christian Center. You ever heard of that?
I've heard of that.
Lawndale Christian
Coach.
and Health Center and all that. Yeah, they're over there on.
The pastor's named Coach.
No. This is Lawndale Health and
that's
Fitness Center.
Lawndale Community Church. And then
Yeah, you're talking about the church, but this is a center. And
he's the guy that started the whole thing.
Oh, see, there's a woman that say she started it, but she was up north for Breakthrough. It's called Breakthrough Ministries, but now she moved it to Lawndale. So we're probably talking about two different.
It's right around there, though.
Yeah, two different things. But these people have folks come in and volunteer, you know, for dinner a lot of days, you know, and these church organizations come in.
Yeah.
And these business organizations.
They have a lot of like outsiders come in to see what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the church comes in and they bring the food.
Oh,
give you a good meal.
Yeah.
Sometimes corporations come in, you know, some of the top, you know, people, and they're not like really super corporations, but you know, some businesses come in, they want to look good. See, they're not really Christian people because they come in there to look good on their portfolios. Look what we did.
Yeah.
We fed the homeless, and they come up in there and they set up there and they take pictures of each other.
Yeah.
They ain't even concerned about us. Unless they're taking a picture with them with us, you know, so they can say, look at me. See, this is all for your advancement.
Yeah.
And you ain't trying to advance these people. You're trying to use these people so that you can impress other people who are so-called Christians, so they can say, oh, yeah, you're just such a nice person. Well, yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
But these same people back here, all you gave him was a meal.
Yeah.
Feed a man a meal he eats one time. Teach a man how to make his money, and he'll eat forever.
Yeah.
So this is what I see. I see the corporation. Now, that's on the Christian side.
Yeah.
You know, you're not really helping these people. Then I see corporations come in and do the same thing. Don't come in and taking a picture of me and offering me something to eat. Offer me a job. How about that?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You offer me a job. Now you doing something. You coming in here bringing me a plate of food. Always appreciated, but you could do something better than that.
Yeah.
You guys running around here, run outside, jumping all your hot brand new cars, you're making crazy money, and all you want to do is show people, look what I did. Say, we was over there helping these homeless people, we fed them. But your whole intentions isn't them. You're trying to shine light on you.
Right.
So you have no humbleness about yourself. You have not shown no humility at all. And I look at that through some of the shelters. That's the reason why I don't go to the shelter. Because see, I don't have time for that. You know, I don't have time for the games or even the shelter games. You know, oh, God is good over here, but we would throw your ass out of here in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
For anything perceived or otherwise. You may not even done it. Somebody might have said you done it. Get the hell out.
Yeah.
You know. So
I appreciate your story, man. I really feel like God is, well, of course I believe in God. Okay, so I believe God isn't through with you yet.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not through with what I'm doing yet.
I would hope that you're open to learning more. You know,
bro, I got so much I've already learned.
I can tell.
I have sat down and studied with Native Americans.
Uh-huh.
I've studied Rose Christians. I studied,
What was the last one you said?
You ever heard of Rose Christians?
Uh-uh.
Okay. Well, that's a different one, but I studied Rose Christians. I've studied Wicca. You know what Wicca is? Okay. I've studied, these are all the types of different religious groups that was in the Feds. I did Fed time. So how did I get around to do all this? Well, you're in this community of all these different people, all these different religions. And in the Feds, they cannot suppress your religion.
Okay.
You have a right to practice your religion as long as it does not interfere with the safety and security of the prison or the inmates. You can practice your religion. That's how I learned what an Indian sweat lodge was and what goes on inside of the Indian sweat lodge. That's how I learned that Wicca isn't what the mainstream wants you to believe. That's how I learned about Voodoo, the religion that actually beat the French. And then all of a sudden they gave the whole area a bad name. Oh, they're practicing voodoo, they're evil. No, but you're the evil people that was trying to actually enslave these people. But because they beat you, that's the reason why Haiti's in the condition it's in now. Same island as Dominican Republic. One side's poor, one side's doing okay.
Yeah.
Why is that? And how did that island get divided? And it got divided for racial reasons.
Yeah.
You see? So,
I want to leave you, it sounds like you're well read. I want to leave you something that I think you might like. This is, I have one here. Yeah. This is about all the different religions of the world, you know?
see, that's nothing new to me. Because they probably don't even have all
there's probably
religions.
some in here that you don't know too much about, but
okay, well, yeah, there's
pretty sure you
Judaism. See, I used to study the Torah and the Kabbalah.
okay.
See, most people don't even know there's two.
But it's comparing, so it's taking that idea that we do have that one thing in common, that we all have a conscience. We know right from wrong. We know we've broken it. Somehow, how can we justify our existence knowing that, you know, we've gone against?
Well, can I tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
That particular line that you just used, that's just a line attributed to a Christian mindset.
Well, I mean, if you look around, you do notice that people are trying to justify their behavior, and they know that they haven't lived up to their own conscience. I haven't met a single person, no matter what background, that thinks that they're perfect or have always kept what they know to be
that's
right.
That's a good
or
thing,
true,
though.
You know,
I mean, we're human beings. We have a lot of different.
Exactly the problem.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's a problem for some.
I mean,
it's no problem for me,
Yeah.
because this is what I do. I know my problem better than you.
Would you say you're a good person?
No, I already know. I don't have to say it. I know I'm a good person.
What
know?
would your standard be for that?
Standard?
Yeah, like, I mean, anytime you say good or bad, you got to measure it against something.
Not really. I just measure it against. I mean, it's just
when
me.
we look around, we can always think of other people that are better or worse than
No,
ourselves.
because I can't judge anybody. The only thing I can say is that for me, I try to move out in a right way every day. I try to move out in a way that I'm going to treat others like I want to be treated. I want a peaceful day. I'm going to run into good people. I'm not going to prejudge people. You know, I'm going to step off with a positive foot every day, and I will not prejudge you
but I will let you do something that will reveal to me what type of person you are. Just like even in a relationship, I tell women, you know, that just because we met each other and we like each other doesn't mean that we're girlfriend, boyfriend material. Let's take time to get to know each other. 6 months you have to be with me before I'll even consider you a girlfriend. Because I need to know who you are.
Yeah.
And you need to know who I am. Because people are on their honeymoons when they first meet. They're not the real person. You got to give it some time so the real person can come.
Yeah.
So for me, you know, I believe I'm a good person. Sometimes what makes some people that are good people, bad people, and not all, but I'm just saying some, sometimes it's just economic conditions, mental conditions, you know? Like when I was supposedly a bad person and got sent to prison, I wasn't a bad person at all. I was a lost person. See, and when you're lost because you haven't been loved properly and you haven't been guided properly, you see, then you will run and trying to run into somebody who can show you the way, but you don't know what that person even looks like because you've never been around that kind of person. So what happened to me a few times, I got caught up trying to hang with the wrong crowd. I'll just put it this way. If I run away from home and I'm hanging out in the streets because I don't know where to go, who am I going to be able to hang with? I'm sure not going to be able to go up in the Kiwanis Club and sit back, or the City Club and sit back.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go to other people who are in my same condition. Now, all these people may not think like me because it gets to be a dog-eat-dog world in that type of life, you know? So you don't know who you may be running into, which is the same for me. I'm a youngster, 16, 17 years old, maybe 15, you know, start running away around 14. And then I get with the wrong people. I'm a skinny little small dude and I want to be accepted. I want somebody to like me because I don't feel liked. You know?
Yeah.
See, my daddy, he was so old school Mississippi, he didn't even know about deodorant.
Oh, okay.
So now you got your kids going to school stinking,
Yeah.
and he didn't understand about bedwetters. See, I learned something about bedwetters when I was also locked up. See, my dad, they come from old school Mississippi that says, oh, you pee the bed, you just want to be hard-headed, you lazy, you don't want to get up, got to get the extension cord. Why? Well, this is what you do, right? You beat the shit out of them with this thing, right? Isn't that what they say about it? Right? So that's what he's doing. But I didn't know why I couldn't control it. But once again, when I was incarcerated, I read a book on the human anatomy, and I got all the way down into the urinal tract. And the reason why some kids pee the bed and some don't, you have a muscle that holds your pee. It develops faster in some kids than it does others. Some kids it's a slower development, and others it may be a faster development. So the kid that has the slower development, because he hasn't, you know, that part of his brain hasn't kicked in to hold, because he doesn't even know until he wakes up what didn't happen, right? And then this other person didn't, and you're like, well, how come he didn't and I did? You see? Okay. So my dad was under the impression, oh, you're hard-headed? Well, guess what? You want to pee the bed? Go put them PE underwear on and go to school. So now you're going to school with no deodorant and underwear that smell like piss. Yeah. I didn't even know what deodorant was until I was probably 20. My dad never taught us because he didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know the difference between an antiperspirant or deodorant. I didn't even know that's what people was using so they wouldn't stink. I was just wondering how come I always stink.
Yeah.
But when you're a child, they're not teaching you that at school. I'm going to tell you, the schools wouldn't even as much as sit down and teach me. People are so cruel. They wouldn't even sit down and say, you got to use this one. This, you know, everybody can stink. You ain't unique. We just don't know. Yeah. We would all smell like that if we ain't put on deodorant and, you know, wash our ass, you know. But you just don't know. But you think anybody told me? Right. No. So I went through a lot of shit. Being ostracized even by Christians. Going up there, because I didn't know anything else at that time anyway. Yeah. A lot of them turned their backs on me.
You know, the greatest reason that people turn from Christianity is Christians who aren't living out their Christianity. The greatest reason people turn to it is Christians who are, you know? And I hope that you'll be open to maybe there's some Christians out there who are living it out, you know?
Yeah, there are. I'm sure there are. I'm gonna put it to you this way: I know there's genuine people who really believe this in their soul. You know?
Yeah, I appreciate that you see that. Because just to say all Christians are wrong is negating their experiences, you know? And people have real experiences with their faith, you know? Or it's real to them, at least,
right.
You know? I mean, I'm sure you know that they're sincere when they tell you about it. They're not lying.
You know the reason why
usually,
I stopped praying?
Always.
You know the reason why I stopped praying? Because I never got the damn prayers answered.
Well, yeah.
So I just stopped doing that. And then I stopped praying for this. I'm out here in a bad situation. See, I won't steal or nothing like that. But back then I was young and didn't know any better than had people taught me how to do things I shouldn't have been doing. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was in store for me if I do this. I didn't know about these prisons and all that
You
stuff.
definitely come from a difficult upbringing. I mean,
I'm still going through it. Why you think I'm homeless now?
Yeah.
If you look at my Jeep over there, I got a pillow in there and a blanket in there, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm still going through it, and I am 59. So I've been very, very, put it this way, it's just been a long road.
I think you're an overcomer.
Well, I'm still overcoming.
You've had a lot of obstacles, but you're not giving up, and you're trying, and you're educating yourself. And
well, I'm trying to use my education. See, I'm not really educating myself. I guess you still can get a certain type of education. You know,
you gotta be. You're a lifelong learner. I can tell you're a lifelong learner. You're not.
Well, I'm trying to get it right before I die.
Yeah.
You see, when I look around, see all these places, all these apartments and homes.
How
do you think that makes me feel?
Yeah.
And I'm homeless.
Yeah.
What the fuck's wrong with me? How come I can't get my shit together?
I mean, everyone's dealt a different hand in life.
And there you go. And it was the hand I was dealt with that had me screwed up.
Yeah. I think God can. I believe in God, and I believe God has something for you.
Well, you believe that, but this is what I think. Not what I think. This is what I know. I know I'm gonna pull myself up, and I'm going to have the things I want because there's only one way I can get it, and that's go work for it and get it and believe I can do it.
Well, I think that's part of it too.
Yeah.
You know, God gave you the. See, I would say that you have a God-given ability to work.
Well, of course.
And to know that you can't just sit back and expect everything to come to you.
No,
know?
I mean, I used to do other things. I used to sell drugs. I made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
But see, I was steered into that by a system that you say, oh, you think that somebody's in control? Yeah, they're in control. You better believe it.
I mean, I'm not,
Let me tell you how they did birth control in the black community. Let me show you just how well they're in control. I've seen so many black men locked up in these prisons. Young men. Some of them were getting crazy sentences for little or nothing. Like I got 10 years and you ain't even get no drugs off me. I think you got like a $20, cocaine rock and no violence on me or nothing. I didn't have any violence, never hurt anybody. It's just that everybody liked me. And I got into that game not because I'm evil and wanted to get away with something. I was actually trying to get my car fixed. I didn't have a job at the time, and I wanted to get a job. Nothing came through there. I met a cousin of mine who looked like he had money rolling out his pockets. Mm-hmm. And when people are poor and they want to have some of the good things in life, they say, well, I can do this with this. Not that I'm an evil person. Mm-hmm. I'm just a wishful person. I want to have what I see everybody else with. Now, I may be going about it the wrong way, but I haven't been taught properly. Mm-hmm. So when you haven't been taught properly, any road will take you somewhere. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what road to take. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Right.
See? And I ended up going someplace that I didn't want to go, but I did still use it to learn. I was in federal prison from 96 all the way up to 2003. I think 97 all the way up to 2003. Mm-hmm. And that was a hell of an experience, especially when I had to cooperate with the feds. I was a big man on the case. They called me the kingpin. You can look me up online. Yeah, I was a king. I go through a lot of shit, a lot of changes, right? So I was a kingpin, And then when I got down there, because I had to cooperate, because everybody cooperates, but when you're supposedly the head of the case, everybody wants to point to you. because I know this much. There's 72 of us here, and they're saying that was running all 72 of you people. I don't even know most of y'all. I don't even know probably 3/3 of y'all don't even know.
Yeah.
And the other ones I know, but I don't deal with you. Yeah. But they called it a conspiracy, so they can lock you all away. But you know what you know what that also does? I looked at it the way nobody else has looked at it. Well, I'm sure some other people have, but most people caught up in it don't look at it. It was birth control. You lock up 2 million people. Those 2 million people, let's say each one of them can have 3 kids. Average. So them 2 million people, and then they can have 3 kids. You just created 5 million, you know what I'm saying, people all together.
I mean, that's one reason, I'm sure, one thing that some people...
I mean, one thing, there's some people that need to be there.
Different, yeah.
Just trust me.
And
I've seen some people that I was like,
oh, there are all around Illinois at the different penitentiaries, there's whole communities that's their main industry of their town.
And see, that's it too. Now, there you go there. Because see, there was an old saying that said, if you build it, we'll get them for you.
Yeah, they will come.
Yeah.
We'll make sure.
They were building federal prisons back in the 90s so fast your head would spin.
Yeah.
I mean, prison.
The war on drugs.
Yeah.